Hey guys, it is me, Tanya, founder of the TNG Designs Group Limited. I hope you're all staying safe and well. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about how to find a logo designer. Now, yes, as always, there are many ways to be able to go about doing this, but I want to share with you these particular ways or resources to be able to tap into in the way that actually suits well with you and sits well with you more specifically. Before you get stuck into this video, as always, make sure that you go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel, because I want to make sure that you are getting into all the goodies as to what I have to offer you, specifically to do with branding, logo design, anything to boost the awareness of what it is that you do and why it is that you do it. Now, yes, again, there are many methods to be able to do so, but I want to make sure you're tapping in specifically into key bite-sized chunks that will help to elevate your brand in a way that sits congruent to you and your beliefs and what it is that you stand for. So before you get going and get stuck into this video, make sure you stick around to the very end, because as always, I've got a super cool gift to be able to share with you, and I want to make sure that you are tapping into it specifically to help boost the awareness of who you are. So folks, let's get stuck into it. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be talking about how to find a logo designer, right? Now, a logo designer, what is a logo designer to begin with? Well, it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a person who designs logos. And this person could be a graphic designer. They could be sitting with a brand specialist. They could be within a branding expertise. So those are the resources or the areas, if you like, that you need to be able to look for in the first place. So to be able to understand in the first place. Now, I want to tap into three particular resources that you need to make sure that you are looking into in order to be able to find a key logo designer for yourself, okay? The first one, and this is everywhere nowadays, we are living in it, so it is the idea of being online, right? So make sure that you are tapping into your online resources. Your online resources can be anything from social media platforms all the way through to specific platforms or houses where you may find a logo designer. For example, a design platform, Design Week, for example, there's Creative Review. There's so many design houses or design platforms to be able to tap into to look specifically for a logo designer. And on that note of platforms, I want to make sure that not only you're looking into the online platforms, the digital platforms, but equally also look into the printed ones as well. So I mentioned before Design Week and Creative Review, those two are actually magazine platforms. So depending on when you're actually watching this video, those specific magazines are around at the time. So in general, have a look for design magazines that will also showcase logo designers, that will also showcase whatever designer that you're actually looking for specifically to that industry, okay? Now, as much as I've said those specific magazines, you can also find them in other industry related magazines as well. So I would definitely urge you to look into those specific things. So that's two resources I've given you already. The online, first of all, we have it at an abundance at our fingertips. So make sure that you are utilizing it. Make sure that you are using it specifically to suit your needs. Google is one of the most used platforms ever. So is YouTube, right? So go ahead and just use them. Search for a logo designer in your area. Search for a logo designer to suit catering businesses. Search for a logo designer to suit beauty businesses. You can be that specific. And when you're that specific, you know exactly what it is you're eventually going to be getting. And by the way, folks, like with all these resources I'm about to share with you, whenever you do pick a logo designer, you know I'm always going to say to you, lead with your values. So make sure you do tap into your VPV in general, but more specifically your values, but also make sure you do your due diligence. So who else has used them, right? Who else or what does their portfolio actually look like? Check that out before you go ahead and reach out to them. Because when you get to suss that information out to begin with, you're going to be able to understand who exactly you actually want to reach out to and who exactly you actually want to connect with as well. Okay, so that's two in general that I've given you. So we've got online resources, then we've also got the printed resources, more specifically looking at industry related magazines or printed media in that respect. Then this third one is one that actually quite a few people do, but it all still gets looked over or overlooked, in fact, simply because it's a case of you may hear about it, but at the same time you may just overlook it and you may just go a whole completely different kind of a route because maybe you don't trust it. I don't know. but it's something that I actually trust in, and it's something that I think a lot of people should trust in and actually use and actually utilize, and even more specifically follow up on. And what I'm talking about is a simple recommendation. It's a simple word of mouth. It's one of the most effective ways for marketing, in fact. So you imagine somebody does a good job for you, or you do a good job for somebody else, right? When it comes specifically to your business, they're naturally going to just be talking about it. That information will naturally get passed on, and that information will naturally get perceived as, oh, I want to reach out to them. I now want to speak to them. I now want to make sure that I connect with them. So make sure that you are really utilizing the idea of what you want to be known for, specifically for yourself, but equally use that same information to help you to pick out that logo designer that really is going to work well for you, in your opinion. Tap into those things, tap into those resources, the recommendations, the online resources, the printed media resources. All of those resources specifically will help you to move that one step forward in order to be able to find out how to look for a logo designer. It's as straightforward as that, folks. So utilize what you have is what I'm saying. We have this all at our fingertips. Utilize it. You know exactly what you want. You know exactly what it is that you are looking for. And I say that because even though you may not feel like you don't know what you're looking for, you do. Because when you see it, you'll know that you're naturally going to have a resistance to it. Or when you see it, you know that you're going to naturally be attracted to it. The opposite, right? So you know what you're looking for. You know the type of things that really, really resonate with you versus the type of things that don't. And again, when you are actually approaching a logo designer that actually suits your taste, let that information be known, the likes, the dislikes, the things that you really love seeing, any examples that you've already seen. And by the way, you should actually look to other people in your industry to see what they are also doing, to give you an idea. It's an added source of inspiration. And I know I've got a few videos on the idea of how to find inspiration for yourself, right? When it does come to branding in general. And more specifically, when it comes to your logo, what have you seen out there that really, really helps you, that really, really resonates with you more specifically? So tap into those resources, folks. So you've got your online, you've got your printed media, and you've also got your recommendations as well. So key resources, folks, that you should all be tapping into, that you all have a plethora of at your fingertips. So go ahead and use them and share with me what has worked with you in the past, or what is working for you, or what do you think you're actually going to be tapping into yourself? Share that with me in the comment section below. And before you go, I want to make sure that you equally, to help make sure that you are tapping into the right logo designer for you, I want to make sure that you are also tapping into these 6 key principles that will help to elevate your brand even more so. And specifically around the decisions that you're making when you're trying to build up your team. Your logo designer is now going to become a part of your team. Regardless of how permanent they are, they're still now a member of your team, because your team is what helps you to elevate. Your team is what helps you to build that awareness as to who you are. And yes, by the way, it most definitely is super important that you do have a logo. And I've spoken about this before, but I'm going to touch base on it again soon as well in another video that will literally help you to understand why it is super important to be able to have a logo in the first place. So now with these principles, you're going to be able to understand, as I said to you before, what your VPV is, but more specifically how to boost your awareness as to who you are and actually make those better connections and start standing out from your competition rather than being drowned out by what it is that they're actually doing. So make sure you tap into these key principles. Now all you need to do, click on the link that's in the description box below, click on that link, fill in just a few details, and I'm going to fire over to you 6 key principles that will make sure that you actually elevate your brand in specific ways, but specific ways that are suited to you and sit comfortably with you. And by the way, they're going to be super easy to implement, so make sure that you go ahead and read through the document. And yes, by the way, if you are that type of person who likes to just park these guidebooks or these helpful bits of information to one side or leave them in your downloaded folder, I'm going to ask you, please read it. But at the same time, if that's you, make sure you go ahead and take me up on my other offer, which is simply to be able to understand how you can get one key strategy to be able to make sure that you go ahead and just get moving and stay moving. So folks, I'm going to leave it there, and I will see you on the other side.